Howdy and hello, I'm OhDough. Hope we're doing great. And how good is the LAS-16 Sickle? Let's go ahead and find out. LAS-16 Sickle has a misleading stat breakdown. Damage 55 seems pretty low. Fire limit 9, recoil 2, and fire rate 750. What you don't see is it has 100 rounds you can fire before it overheats. And then you can technically reload it. They call it a heat sink swap. Or you can wait for it to cool off if you don't overheat entirely. And you can fire again starting at 0 all the way to 99. Which is going to be hard to really calculate that, but that's what you can do. And that means you can fire a grip of bullets. Versus small enemies in the game, it's insane. It is phenomenal even, because you can fire so often, and if you have to swap weapons, your sport weapon or whatever, it'll cool off while it's stowed away. So effectively, you could fire this weapon and never reload it. Although, you shouldn't get in the habit of doing that because sometimes you want to reload. You need that extra uptime. And the heatsink swap is insanely fast. You pop out a little battery and you pop one in. Did they change ammo at all? Because this thing gives you back all 6 heat sinks from a single self-supply. And from the one that you can drop down from the sky, same deal. But will the Sickle kill? Let's go ahead and find out. Versus the Terminids and then the Automatons. I try to fight every Terminid I could think of. And for the ones that are larger, I wanted to have more of a one-on-one situation. For the rodents and the wilburs and critters and whatnot, I wanted to show the horde killing capabilities, which is pretty solid. Other guns, you have a hard time killing 10 monsters in some cases because sometimes a shot you shoot is dead on doesn't even kill it, it feels like. It seems to take 2 shots for the majority of smaller monsters, which is insane considering you have 100 rounds. Versus a charger, I wanted to test it a few ways. This one is seeing how many bullets it takes to remove thine wagon. It's a lot. I would estimate around 120. So, a magazine and some change. And I let it cool off a little bit. It didn't overheat technically, but it took more than a whole thing. And then in this situation, what happens when the charger's missing a leg armor? Which happens. The last test for the charger is a bit weird because it feels as though after 3 or so times it passes by you and tries to mow you down, its legs get weaker. Not the leg itself, but the leg joint. And once that leg joint can be shot, then it makes the leg itself weak, and you shoot that, it dies lickety split. Nursing spears aren't that bad if you can shoot them in the face. If you can't, it takes a lot of bullets. Their sides are not particularly weak to the bullets that you can shoot. And if their face moves a little bit, you might get got. Wilbur body block me, bro. Then the brood mothers, I believe is their name, they take a lot of bullets. They get a lot of bullets just to take off their head, and they can still hit you for, I think, the next 3 seconds. Keep that in mind. These things, I never know their name. You can kill them, technically, it's just not worth it. If you shoot beneath the armor, and it's already weak, they'll die kind of fast. If it's full HP, you're just better off walking away. Just turn around, walk away, let it be. Downside with that, though, is that they can snitch. They have the pheromones. Even when you shoot the back of them that it's exposed, it takes so many bullets. That's not the best example of that. Just trust me. It takes a lot of ammunition to take those guys down. And then for the bile spewers, which are the upgraded version, they have armor on the face. You cannot penetrate that. You can shoot their sides though. It just takes a long time if they're focusing you. If they're not on your jondals, get a perpendicular ang and shoot the sides of the bile spewers. It takes about 20 to 30 rounds, which is substantial. Well, you could do something, I suppose. For the stalkers, you want to shoot them in the face. That's like the best case scenario. They go down pretty quickly. If not, the body shots are not ideal. Bile Titans do not care you exist. You're better off just not even being there. You can eventually remove the green bits if you shoot them long enough, but it takes a lot of freaking rounds, man. From what I can tell, it takes probably 150, something like that. That's a lot of investment for what? It's still going to come after you. I think it's actually better when it has the spit, because at least it can kill other monsters chasing you if you can avoid it decently. You ain't doing a single thing to the legs or the jondals of an AT-AT walker. I'm highly confident the armor that gives you more accuracy while prone or crouch affects this weapon, making it a beam, brother. It feels pretty nice. Now for the rest of the clips, I didn't use this. Starting off for the Automatons, this is the Hulk kill, using a stun grenade to keep him in place. And this is the ammo it takes. Not too shabby, I would say. Not at all. And then versus the regular mobs, it takes about 2 shots. That guy's talking to Jesus, I guess, in the heavens. It feels good shooting these small robots. It's like Kovacs. You hear the clank sound when they break. It takes about 2 shots to kill them. Just body shots. It's awesome. Versus the bigger ones, it's not as simple. Because it requires at least 2 headshots, maybe 3 or 4. It's hard to test given the delay on when you pull the trigger and when it actually fires. Just, sorry. And you kind of want to stand still or preferably be prone to hit your shots regardless of armor. And they got rockets, so you just die. Chainsaw dudes are the toughest to kill with this weapon, because if you're running away from them, you have more sway in what's going down. Watch out for rockets. Little PSA. You cannot blow out the vents. You can't blow a tank's back out. None of that can really happen with this weapon. Just nothing happens. I think I put like a whole clip into one of these things, and there's no smoke, which makes sense. It's a light armor pin. I'm just gotta test things to make sure. Just like the Scorcher says, I don't think it says it's explosive, but it does explosive damage. And in general, you can snipe from Narnia. Set your scope to 100 meters and get to firing. It feels good. This is still not using that armor I was talking about earlier. That would give you more accuracy. If I had that on, I'd be a menace from deep. Just be careful. When you camp in a game like this, the AI gets mad. They freaking tiptoe towards you. For some reason, I couldn't beat the brakes off this thing. I don't know why. Just couldn't. Given it's a heat-based weapon, plant's temperature can affect this. Extreme cold makes it that much better. It heats up much slower. On the flip side, if your planet has intense heat, it's not going to be as ideal. With extreme cold, how long can I fire for? I'm being encroached. I'm reflecting off that guy. GG. The shell dudes are my arch nemesis. If you can't tell, this is intense heat. Looking bottom left. It doth be rising faster. A planet that doesn't have any extreme weathers. Starting now. I can't tell the difference between cold. After watching all that, what do you think? Me personally, pretty massive fan against both the bugs and the bots. Although if I had to rate them, bugs are up here. It's just a bit more enjoyable given how many of the smaller critters there are at every level. Bots, you can handle the majority of the mobs, but you can't take down the Striders. That's the big downside. And the Striders can shoot back. The bugs don't have Glocks quite yet, so it's not as noticeable. And for the bugs you can't take down, they just have to waddle towards you. Like the Hermit guy, that's the one that comes to mind that you'll see pretty often. The Bowel Spewers, you can't kill those dudes either, but you don't see them all the time. Thank the Lord. I don't like that mob. I really don't. But the weapon's amazing. So how good is it? Very. That's the video. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Peace. It takes a year and a day to break the mushroom. Guaranteed. Weave. Couldn't weave that. It takes more than 100 bullets. Like 120. Wait. This is on a cold planet too.